Hello and welcome to Dungeons and Dragons, a Darkened Wish, the streaming series, episode 8, The Elder Brain. Now, as you might know, it is a difficult time for a lot of people in a lot of industries. And right now, our friendly local gaming stores are suffering a lot in the midst of this lockdown with people like us not being able to come in every day. So there is a lot of things you can do to support your local store. Keep in touch with them online, still try and order things if you can, shop online through friendly local stores if you can, because a lot of times it is very difficult keeping your doors open at a time like this. And oftentimes people don't have just months and months and months of resources stockpiled. If your gaming shop is also a comic shop, comics aren't going out right now. So it's really a stressful time. And so just remember to try and do everything you can to support the people that make it possible for us to play the games we love and spread so much joy into our lives. So with that being said, let's meet our heroes. And if you have any memories of a happy memory from a gaming store that you'd like to share, please do lay it on us. I'll go in the way that you all are ordered on my screen. Let's start with Mr. Alcuin Gersh.
Hey, I'm Alcuin Gersh, like B-Dave just said, and I'm playing Rayonde. And I have a lot of great memories of gaming stores, but one thing I always liked about them was that a lot of the ones I went to were sort of mom and pop places that you could tell they weren't part of like a big, company. And so you could see their passion for doing what they loved turned into a business. And I also liked how tolerant they were of me, this kid, and they just let me stand there and read the books. They knew I'd buy them eventually, and I did. I did buy a lot of them eventually, but they were very patient about me just being able to just stand there and immerse myself in this world. And I never wanted to go home. I would just stand there all damn day. So anyway, thank you, game stores, and yeah, do whatever you can to support your game stores because they are a community unto themselves.
Melee damage.
Hi there, I'm Melee Damage. I will be playing Helene. Yes, do go check out support your game stores and whatever they are doing right now. And especially when everything picks back up again, be sure to rush out there. And I like to go there, and I just love minis and dice. So my favorite thing to do is parade around to a lot of them and just find all of the coolest minis and die that I can, and collect all of the little tiny things because I am like a schmeagle with little tiny things. I must keep them all. So yes, please do support your game shops. They are wonderful. They are amazing. And without them, none of this would be possible.
I'm just over here again. Sam and I both started like my precious. Mr. D'Artagnan Mattaliano.
Hello, I'm D'Artagnan Mattaliano, and I'll be playing Xander. I almost said the other character that I'm playing on. Almost. I don't have any recent memories of visiting game stores in my adult life. I literally go there to buy dice, and it's almost like a drug deal. It's like, you got the dice? All right, cool. Just put it in the bag. All right, got you. And I just leave with that little brown paper bag. Exactly. And I get out of there. But when I was a lot younger, there was like a mom and pop place down the street from where I lived. Can't remember for the life of me what it was called. Grouches. It was called Grouches. Anyway, we would stay there, like me and my whole family, like 6 brothers and me, and we would just sit there for hours reading comic books, playing Magic the Gathering. We played Pokemon tournaments. It was an amazing time, and definitely I don't want to neglect the youth from those kind of experiences. So definitely support your local game shops, and if not, just send them a nice message. If you can't give them money, support them with kind words and finger guns. I don't know.
Finger guns count. Sam Leve.
Hi, I'm Sam Leve, bringing the finger guns and the real guns as needed, especially today as I play Aiden for our game. And a lot of game stores will have gift cards that you could take advantage of for later in the future. And supporting local game stores is important because they are the bedrock of this little tabletop industry. So supporting them helps support every other piece of it. If you want games, you getting those games through a local game store will also support the kinds of things that we do here inside of the internet. So support your local games, support RPGs.
Last in shenanigans. Yeah. Role-playing shenanigans. Shenanigans. Last, that's what I should have named this episode, is shenanigans. Maybe that'll be next week. Last but certainly not least, Aki.
Hi, everybody. I'm Aki, and I'm going to be playing your twins, Kerrin and Karrin. I've had a couple of really great experiences at some of the friendly local game stores here in LA since I've moved here. But the one thing that I think I'm going to definitely be excited about once this is all over and we have the opportunity to congregate once again is like local game stores are great places to gather with your friends and do all kinds of amazing fun things, and they're going to need that kind of business. So when you get the chance to reserve your spot when everything opens back up, do that, because they're gonna have missed seeing your face and will want to see your face again. And until then, anything that you think you can do to help support them and keep them going, you should do that, because they're the ones that keep us going. We're here because we have them. So yeah, make sure you shout out how awesome they are as often as you possibly can.
My memory was when I think I was probably 10, maybe 11. I went to a game shop for my birthday to buy something, Hobby Lobby in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I bought my first RPG ever, Ninjas and Super Spies. Because again, I was 10 and it involved ninjas and additionally super spies. And if you remember the book, it's a ninja kicking a dude in the face while his laser's going off. So I was like, yes, please, give it to me. And I got home and I had no idea what a role-playing game was. And I was flipping through it and I saw numbers and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is like a computer programming book or something. And we ended up returning it. And I bought a model for the Starship Enterprise instead. And it was some years later before I made it all the way back around to becoming a gamer and actually buying Ninjas and Super Spies and being like, oh, okay, I get it now. I know what it is. But yeah, that's one of those weird butterfly effect moments. But yeah, so definitely support them however you can. Like they said, order online if you can. If not, Signal Boost, Happy Messages. They're stressed out like everybody. We're all in this together. That being said, since we did that delightful detour, I will turbo do the rest of our sponsors, because again, as independent content creators, we and everyone else rely on the generosity of viewers like you, both in the form of your bits and tips, but also in your support of our sponsors. Thank you, Q Times, for having us here and making this possible. Thank you, D&D Beyond, the digital tool set that's got nearly everything you need to play D&D, and more is coming. Soon they're going to have dice and a few other things that are going to make it a very seamless experience, but definitely dndbeyond.com. If you want to play D&D online with your friends, it is super, super useful. Dogmite Games, the makers of my beautiful, lavish DM screen, which I look forward to being behind again soon. They have a number of custom screens available now. You can get one that is just perfect for you, just like mine's perfect for me. Dogmite.com to learn more. Level Up Dice, makers of fine luxury gaming accoutrements. They make special dice out of almost any material that you can think of. Some materials I'd never even heard of, but they're all astonishing. So visit levelupdice.com to learn more. And last but certainly not least, Games for Love, a 501c3 kindness-oriented charity, aims at reducing the suffering of children and increasing their quality of care. And now, oftentimes, children that were already sick are under very heavy quarantine, and that is a difficult and lonely time. So we're raising money to buy gaming consoles for them, controllers for them. Every $10 directly affects 2 children's lives. So visit gamesforlove.org to find out more. With that being said, on with our story. Xander, you awaken first to the pain before any other sensation. And then there's the wailing and screaming of different voices off in the distance. And you open your eyes and they're slow to focus, and you take in a room that looks mottled grayish purple, almost like it's made out of coral. And outside, you can just barely make out tall, twisting black buildings that don't really make any sense from a logical standpoint that you would think of, that they go up and then just sort of jut to the side with, it's almost more like they have odd growths over them, like they've just risen up out of the ground organically more than being built. And you find yourself in this place alone. There is a thin cord of some strange material wrapped around your waist and hooked into a wall. But besides that, you appear to be alone.
I'm gonna try to move forward to the gate.
As you move forward a little bit, the bind on your waist starts to sting. And the further you go from the wall, the more it hurts. Like initially, it's almost just sort of a paper cutty discomfort, but it very quickly starts to compound with each step that you take until you're almost forced to go back.
I go back to where it doesn't hurt that much then. Do I see anyone in front of me? Is there guards or something?
Give me your perception check.
14.
In the corner of the room, in the midst of the darkness, you can barely make out a tall form in a gray robe with pale, putrid gray skin. Its tentacles hang low and lifelessly, and it looks at you through cold eyes. One of them is milky and white. Are you awake?
Yeah. Can I get water?
It steps out of the darkness, and you can see it. The other Illithid that you saw, and now that you have strange memories of other ones that you don't remember seeing with your eyes, and yet you're aware of somehow, all seem to have a lavender skin tone that under different circumstances would be beautiful, really. Although usually set on those horrible faces is difficult to appreciate. But this thing looks very clearly dead. And it looks at you for a second, and its hollow eye narrows slightly. And you hear a voice echo in your mind. Yes, I will summon water for you. You need to keep up your strength. And a moment later, a halfling, it's probably a halfling. He's very gaunt and emaciated, without his cheerful little pot belly that you'd be accustomed to seeing. It's difficult to make out what he is, really. Comes in with a bucket of water and a ladle. In his eyes have the blank, vacant stare of all the people you saw on the riverbank. And he walks over to you and scoops out the water and holds it up for you.
I'm just gonna drink it. I take the ladle from him.
When you drink it, it is terrible. It is somehow simultaneously briny and also gooey. But in this moment, it's better than nothing. And the mind flayer takes a step out and comes towards you and says, yes, you will be of use.
What did we what did we do to you? Why did you attack us?
Why do you swat flies? Why do you eat cows? Do you hate them?
No. So we're just cattle to you then?
Yes.
So then why let my friends go? Why force me to kill one of my friends? Why? Or just why? Why did you do this to us? What's the point of playing with your food?
When it turns its head, the tentacles just sort of roll over life. They twitch a tiny bit every once in a while. And he's like, we wanted to see what you would do. Do you appreciate this mercy? And he looks down at the water.
Mercy. You forced me to kill my friend and then brought me out of that haze to capture me and torture me and feed me sludge as water, and you consider this mercy?
I'm going to ask you one question, and you dare not lie.
Yeah, ask away.
And he steps very close to you, close enough that you could reach out and touch him. When you offered yourself over to us, what were you thinking?
You know what I was thinking. You were in my head. I wanted to protect my friends, my family. That's it. I would die for them.
It looks you up and down slowly, and it says, you have answered truthfully. You will not suffer now.
You said I was close enough to touch him?
Mm-hmm.
Can I try to touch him?
What would you like to do?
I like to touch him real hard with the spoon right in the neck.
Gonna try and shank him? All right, roll
Yeah.
it. Roll it.
Yep. So is this good?
Surely you meant the 7 and not the 1, right? Is that what
It was the one, yeah.
Oh, right. I just had to clarify.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Tell me how I
Xander,
died.
you lunge forward with all the coiled energy in your muscles and go to stab this thing in the neck. And the little halfling jumps up right in front of you and takes it in the neck instead and falls to the ground, shuddering and dying. And he just looks down at it and he says, my merciful nature has once again proven to be a weakness. I will motivate you. And outside, you hear Rayonde screaming. Meanwhile, back in the bar, the sunken siren, the exile brings you all back into the room, and it's like you slam into your bodies like a helicopter crashing, and she's are you all right? Are you all back? And you hear her voice faintly in your minds. Are you back and safe? Did you all return?
We're safe. Are you okay?
It is very difficult to break away when I connect. And you all see Noseer still sitting there at the table, looks at all of you and pours out of a pitcher he's holding of some thick, foul-smelling liquid and slides it across to her. And she... And he himself just sort of knocks back a little bit of the pitcher and is looking at you all. I am sorry that you all had to witness that. It is awful.
Helene, just looking very befuddled, doesn't say a word and just runs outside and kind of takes a perch on the front step of the bar.
Karrin is going to follow her.
You two get up and run outside. What does Aiden do?
Aiden sits back down at the table, looks at Kerrin, looks at the exile, looks at Nasir, asks, so what are we going to do about it?
Seems like you've seen something unpleasant, boy, yes?
Somehow I don't think that would surprise you.
Would you mind if I were to take a small look?
Sure.
He reaches down and pulls a royal blue glove off of his hand. Again, he would be a very handsome man were he not so terrible.
Yeah.
And he reaches out and he puts a hand on the side of your head, Aiden. And you do feel a pressure sort of pushing against your mind. I give you my word, boy. Scoundrel to scoundrel. I won't look too deeply.
Yeah, whatever. Get your rocks off if you feel like you need to. It's a tough world.
And he's like, yes, I see. Karrin, as you arrive outside, Helene, you're sitting on the step, but what are you doing when they catch up to you?
She's just trying to breathe. She looks like she's out of breath, but she didn't have to run that far, and she's in fairly good shape. So, just a little bit of a slight panic running through her as she's trying to assemble herself, and tears are forming in her eyes. But she's very much trying to pull it back together, which almost seems to be adding to her frustration that she can't.
And I think as Karrin approaches and sees this, they just reach out and take Helene's hand. Hey.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't want you to see me like this.
It's okay. It's okay. I understand.
And she leans in and just gives you a huge hug.
And Karrin hugs her back. We're going to get them back. You said it. And I believe it.
We will, but this was supposed to be fun. We were supposed to be having fun right now. This was supposed to be an adventure, and we were supposed to slay dragons and take treasure and not get taken by those things and whatever's happening to them.
I know none of this has gone how we expected it to, Helene. I don't think there's anything I wouldn't do to go back and change every choice we've made so far. But that's not what we get to do.
No, we've one option left, I suppose, and that's just rain some hellfire down on these things, whatever they are, and get our friends back. And she grips you again and just squeezes you tighter as she cries, and then kind of jumps back a moment later and wipes her tears off and goes, okay, I'm gonna try and pull myself together again, because we've got to figure this out, and I especially don't want that guy to see us in this state either. The weaker we look, the more I feel like he would take advantage of that.
I have never seen you look so strong.
Thank you. He hugs you again.
I'm going to help you get him back, okay?
Yeah. Likewise.
While you all are sharing this embrace, stealing yourself a couple of deep breaths, a large shadow comes over both of you, and you hear and Molt lands in the mud with a heavy splash, splashes mud up onto both of you. And she sort of stands up holding her crossbow and just looks at the two of you.
We weren't going anywhere. We're coming back in.
This close to her, in the midst of her patchy, molty feathers, when the light hits them just right, they're actually a brilliant blue iridescent. You think that there might have been a time that she was a truly beautiful Aarakocra, but that time is long past. She just looks at you both and just kind of goes, this audible, like, and just sort of like looks down her beak at you as she turns and walks into the bar.
And when all this is over, we'll take care of her too.
Yeah.
Rayonde, you find yourself now collecting yourself from the almost incomprehensible waves of pain that you were racked by, still landing on the cobblestone-ish coral pavement outside the pool of the Elder Brain. And you feel that familiar voice of your mother that you thought you'd forgotten echoing in your mind. Oh, my boy, I'm sorry that you suffer so.
You're obviously some sort of attempted to disguise or a construct. I have no such memory of these words.
You hear a bubbling in the pool next to you, and the large, hideous thing rises up slowly. The Elder Brain looks just that, a gargantuan brain with its own long tentacles, like what you see on the Mind Flayers. And one of them comes out and the tentacle gently caresses your face. She's not here. She abandoned you, Rayonde. She didn't love you like I do. I'll never let you go.
That's not going to work for me.
The tentacle basically gently reaches under your arm and kind of like helps you stand there as this thing just looms. And the other Mind Flayer with the long tentacles and the fluorescent violet skin is still standing there next to you. You must have so many questions.
No, I don't have any questions. I'm not interested in hearing whatever monologue you're going to deliver about how now I belong to you and everything is a world of death or whatever it is that you're going to go on about. But I mean, if it makes you feel better, by all means, go ahead.
Neither of them move, and you hear Xander screaming again.
Hmm.
That's interesting.
I know that voice. That's my companion, Xander.
Yes, you do know that voice.
Are you punishing him? Is that what you're doing? Oh no, you're punishing me. That's because I did that. Well, I mean, maybe we both deserve to be punished. I failed to save my friends, and Xander was weak-willed enough to allow you to control him. So, yeah, maybe we deserve this.
Is that what you believe happened? That his will was insufficient? That your will is sufficient? That you or anyone is capable of resisting me?
Oh, I know that I am. I know I'm capable of resisting you. Does that anger you? Do you feel anger?
No, I don't. Tell me, Rayonde, when you break a claw on your foot, do you lament it, or do you simply break it off and continue on your journey?
I mean, I can't say that's kind of situational, actually. I think there would be times I'd feel a bit put out about it, but yeah, it depends. It depends on if I had a bigger goal in mind. Do you have a bigger goal in mind?
I don't have goals.
No, you should work. You should work on that. They're valuable for growth. I mean,
what do you mean growth? I am the supreme being. I am the ruler of all life.
oh,
What more
so,
would I aspire to?
Perfection.
I have achieved perfection.
I mean, that's what you would think if you hadn't achieved perfection. If you were perfect, you wouldn't care about being perfect anymore. But if you care about perfection, well then, I guess, well, I'm sorry. You've got a long way to go.
I see the limitations of your flawed reptilian mind. Fascinating. Usually, when one stand before me, they tremble and grovel and beg for mercy. You intend to be indignant to the last moment, as if you will die somehow with your dignity intact or some other meaningless sentiment. Is that your intention?
No, I actually don't care at all for my own dignity. I'm not going to give you the pleasure. Because that's what motivates you. Pleasure. Pleasure and pride. And I don't care about either of those things.
I'm going to give you a single opportunity as a reward for your valor. I'm going to kill one of your friends right now. I will let you decide which one it is. Meanwhile, in the sunken siren, you all see the exile. He goes, no. It's coming back. Bind my hands. Do not stand in front of me. Bind my hands. It's coming for me.
Yeah, I'll move up, get some rope. Do it, quick.
It's Helene and Karrin. You have made your way back in as she's frantically starting to look around, and you tie her up, and a moment later, hello, Karrin, Kerrin, Aiden, Helene.
Yes. Does the voice sound different than the one before, or does it sound exactly the same?
The voice sounds like what essentially the exile hooked you into when it was talking to Rayonde originally. You have heard that, except you're aware that that's what it is, but in your own mind, it sounds like the person you love the most. Helene, it sounds like your grandfather. Karrin and Kerrin, it sounds like your grandmother. Aiden, it sounds like you echoing in your own mind.
She looks to Karrin, Kerrin, and Aiden and goes, I don't like this. I don't like when they do this.
Why are you here? What are you doing with her?
Your friends, Xander and Rayonde, offered themselves to me in exchange for your life. Circumstances have been altered now, and I must express my displeasure to Rayonde in a way that he will understand. And so I'm going to destroy one of you right now. I'm allowing him to decide. I'm only warning you in case you would like to attempt to run or flee or fight or something else delightful like that. Rayonde, there in your mind, you hear, I have established the connection. Their death is imminent. Either you choose or I do.
I am not going to choose for you. You'll have to choose, and you'll always have to guess if you really hurt me or not.
And you do see the light in the pond dims slightly. And Rayonde, you see your own hand reach out and draw your own weapon and flip it around and put it to your own neck. And the brain says, do you really think there is anything of you that is hidden from me? Do you think there is any secret you can hold from me?
No, but that's not the source of my strength.
Back in the bar, you all see the exile say, he is quite something. Even now, he is telling me he'd rather I kill you all than be forced to choose. What do you all think I should do?
Go on. Get out of here. Run. All of you, now.
He'll find us wherever we are.
Or try. Go. I look to Helene. Go.
Helene looks just very confused, and she keeps looking back and forth between Aiden and the creature, and she raises her hand up like she's about to cast something and looks to the twins to see what they're doing.
Why do people keep thinking they have to sacrifice themselves so that we can all live? Why can't we figure out a way to do this together?
If we don't move, it's none of us. Go. I look to Helene. Fly.
Is that what you would like, Kerrin? For there to be a way for all of you to be fine? Because I have to tell you, right now, and you all get the clearest and most distinct sense of Xander's agony. Like you feel it just coursing through you. Right now, you are not all fine. I think I would like to play a game. You will all come to me.
Gladly. And Helene casts lightning bolt down on the creature that it's speaking through.
You blast the exile?
100%.
The light goes off and she lights up and her tentacles extend and she screams and goes limp.
I'm tired of playing these kinds of games. And Helene does turn and walk out of the bar again.
Rayonde, you feel its presence in your mind again, saying, "That went well. I have gotten what I require from you for now. Would you like to return to your cell under your own power? Or would you like to be stored with your friend?"
Actually, yeah, maybe you should store me with my friend.
The one with the extremely long tentacles walks and looks like right in your face. You're a little taller than him. It looks right up at you and it's like, "I'm going to enjoy this." Turn and walk or be dragged.
I do.
It guides you back, not towards the building that you remember coming out of, but to a building, and Xander's in it. He is sort of in a heap on the floor as, again, just mind-bending, nauseating pain has washed through you repeatedly. But you do see Xander and this long tentacled horror approaching. You also know Xander immediately. That is the one that was controlling you.
Do I see Rayonde come in? They didn't hurt you too much?
Not as much as you.
I'm
I
fine.
may have sassed them a bit. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I deserve it.
I don't. I can't imagine what it's like to have something else controlling you, to not be in control. And I think that maybe you feel responsible for what you did, but I don't.
I was responsible. I could have been stronger. I could have stopped it. I sat there and watched as I stabbed and stabbed and stabbed until there was no life left in their body. And I couldn't do anything, Rayonde. Nothing. And what happens when I come to? I run. You're telling me I don't deserve this?
But you're not powerless. And even if you failed in that moment, it doesn't mean you always will. I mean, you're the champion of the White Sails Boxing League. You've got a reputation to uphold.
You gave that to me. That doesn't even matter anymore.
Maybe I did, but I was afraid that if I didn't throw the fight, that you would win. And I couldn't. That was a lesson for me, and that's how I failed. But here we are. So at least our friends are safe.
Yeah, at least they're safe.
Rayonde, over against the far wall in the room, there is a cord identical to what is wrapped around Xander's. And this time you see another dragonborn, a pale, frail thing. You think maybe once it was white, but who can say? Maybe it's just been down here so long that its color's gone. And it's got the same vacant stare as all of them. And it reaches down and it picks up the loop and it just motions towards you like this.
I make my way over and belt up, I guess.
It hooks it on to you and it goes to the middle of the room and it just stands there. And a moment later, all sorts of creatures just sort of walk into the room. About 9 of them. There are gnomes, dwarves, humans. A few of them are wearing white sails uniforms. And they all just have that same blank stare. And they basically line up across the middle of the room between the two of you. And half turn and look at you, Rayonde, and half look at you, Xander. And in unison, they all draw daggers and put them to their necks and just stand there. Meanwhile, back in the Sunken Siren, there's a deafening ring that echoes through the place as a bolt of lightning has erupted point blank, and it takes a second to clear everyone's minds. And for what seems like a long moment, the exile doesn't move until Karrin and Kerrin, give me your insight. Either insight or medicine, but this time actually roll at a disadvantage because she is quite alien to anything you've ever seen.
It's a 12.
You're looking at her. You think she may not quite be dead. She's unquestionably dying, but she may not be dead.
Okay. I think in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and cast a 4th level cure wounds, because why not? She's helped us a lot.
You see the wounds and burns begin to close up, and she lurches forward, and her hands are still bound behind her back. And she looks right at you, Helene, and barely whispers, even out loud.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It wasn't anything personal to you. It was a thing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Don't.
And Helene does walk over and kind of put her hand on her head.
And she sort of leans it against you, and her skin does have even though it looks like it is wet, it is like oddly leathery. It's very odd when you touch it, but she's just don't let him get me. And just sort of like puts her head against you.
Well, we're gonna try and stop it. We're gonna do everything that we can, and we won't. I don't know how to stop that when he gets in your head like that, but and anything we can do. If you need me to blast you again with another lightning bolt, you let me know, okay?
She makes a face that you think is probably a smile. The way her face is constructed is so very alien compared to yours, but something in her eyes seems almost wearily playful. I hope I don't need it again.
And
Aiden
Helene does give her a tighter little squeeze. Keep stroking her head.
Aiden.
Yeah. What's Nulcier's reaction right now?
You hear in your mind again, oh yes, that would be terrible if someone were in your head, wouldn't it? No, be at peace, boy. I just want to be able to talk man to man, free from sentiment and emotion. Just business.
Yeah. All right.
He slides the pitcher And when it gets closer to you, you've drank in plenty of watering holes. It's a fermented milk of some sort. Like you can't place what animal this is from, but it's like borderline alcoholic yogurt. But you know,
I've had worse. I've had better, but I've had worse. And it's a, you know what, it's a hard yogurt kind of day.
it is. The rest of you, it's just like he's drinking. He finally poured a cup for himself and is sort of drinking and just looking at everyone while all of this is happening. He's not even really making eye contact with you, Aiden, during all this.
Yeah.
He just, to a casual observer, it's like he's just thinking and taking it all in. I know what you are, boy, because you and I are the same. I'm also from nowhere. I also carved my way through this life and made a place for myself, as you are doing.
Yeah, I'll throw you a parade.
And yet, for all your good works, for all your effort to be like them, you're not. You are like me, and even worse, you need me.
And you need us. You think this problem is going to stay hidden underground?
That's
You think
where
there's
you're...
somewhere your business interests won't be affected? You think you can just seal it off? All that profit?
is a very large world. There's a little place down south I like to go sometimes. I've been all over this world, and I will go all over it again. And if it means those horrible lithids catch up to me in 50 years, if I'm still alive in 50 years, I'll welcome dying with my boots on. But your friends are currently in their clutches now.
All right. Yes, they are. What do you want for it?
You.
Excuse me?
You've got some years left on your contract, and you could do a bit of seasoning. But when your contract is up, your contract with me will begin. I will turn you into a pirate king. You'll be known, respected, feared.
You won't tell them about this?
I think they've suffered enough, don't you?
Yeah. And... well, they're not like us.
Mm-hmm. He slams his cup down and he's like, I've come to realize, on the advice of the counsel of my wise young friend here, pointing at Aiden, that the mind flayers are an existential threat to not just Skullport, but to business, which must not be disrupted.
Good. A wise decision. We all need to band together to stop this foe and recover our lost ones.
Rock, the Dwugar, the deep dwarf who brought you here originally, has been drinking from an entire pitcher of that sludge just drops it down and sort of like wipes the thick white foam off of his beard. And he's like, those things killed me mom and me brothers. Also killed the man I hated most. I'm glad he's dead, you see. Well, I was supposed to get to kill him.
Time to give him what for then, right?
Boy. And he reaches under the table, and you all hadn't seen this before, but he's got a short-handled maul that's got a head on it that's probably as thick as his head. Like, you don't know what that shaft is made out of to be able to hold that thing, but he's just like, bonk. Yeah, I think so.
Do
No
we have
steer. Oh, sorry.
any
Oh, yes.
others that can join us?
No seer looks around the room and he's like, we are sellswords. They come to my banner, of course, but more often they come to the rattle of coin. What is it that you are asking me to provide you?
The kind of overwhelming force that will be needed because some will fall.
The exile, still with her head on your shoulders, Helene, whispers just loud enough for you to hear. He'll use them against you. He'll use them against you. It's what it does. It's what it's counting on. That's how he wins.
And what do you recommend?
You can go with a large group if you want, but I think that's what it expects. You saw what it had on the river. It had an army. It didn't even care.
I think we're afraid to be outnumbered as well because of that. Thank you for your kind words. I'm just not sure if they've helped lead me any further out of my confusion.
One of her tentacles just sort of like oddly plays with one of the braids of your hair. It's like, you're fascinating. If there's any sanity on the other side of this, I would love to know you, Helene.
Likewise. Is there any way, perhaps, if I would hate to ask you to do this again, but if need be, if we need you to tap back into them somehow, is there a way you can distract them? I know as a last resort, I just in case anything we do goes wrong and we need a do or die button, if you will.
Give me your persuasion check, Helene.
Where's my modifier? 15.
She says, and she says this loud enough, sort of for all of you to hear. Would you please unbind me? I think I'm safe. And if not, she just sort of like nods towards you, Helene.
Helene smiles and does untie her.
She sort of picks her hat up off the floor. When she snapped her head back from the lightning bolt, it fell off. And she puts it on and sort of arranges her wide brim hat and pushes her coat to the side and pulls out a scroll and rolls it out in front of you. And on it, there is what originally looks like a line that doesn't really mean anything. It's just like this way and that wing this way and this way, and then sort of up that way and over here and then back down and through here. She says, it's a map to where the Elder Brain is most likely located. I think I know that one. And she very much like rubs her throat a little bit, and in your minds you hear her voice kick in again. That one is called Encephalithid. Usually it dwells much, much, much deeper in the Underdark, the heart of the Undermountain. But it felt closer this time. I think it is preparing some sort of offensive against the surface.
That's not comforting. That also means that it's probably had a much larger head start on planning.
Means we need to stop them here and now.
Yeah.
The question is, do we go with a big force or a small one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Send one in as a diversion for the other.
Our friend here has recommended that we keep in mind that if we travel in a large group, they'll probably try and turn them against us. So, I mean, there usually is strength in numbers, but I take that as you will.
I look to Nasir and Helene. Can either of you do illusions? It's a type of lie, right?
He just sort of scratches his head for a second, and you feel something tap you on your shoulder, Aiden. It's him. He's standing right behind you.
Let us be where they don't expect us. If we come in big...
Right when you say that, the exile says, wait. Maybe it's listening. I shouldn't hear this. And she stands up. She's like, I'll be outside. I don't know if...
Take your time. Take your time.
I'll leave some of this for you.
And she literally grabs that pitcher and it's and it like pours out over the sides. And she goes, I don't want to hurt you all again. And she turns and walks out.
Helene gives her a couple of coins before she does and hands it to her and says, in case you need a second drink.
And she does, and you can see her kind of out in the street, like pacing, like sort of like she holds her head up and sort of lets the ambient spray of the bay sort of like wash over her face a little bit. Yeah. And Nosir watches her go, and he's like, that is a fascinating creature.
And doing her best to do right by us, which wouldn't necessarily expect in an establishment like this.
Nor should you. And Rock speaks up like, I always try and square my debts, I do. Usually like this, and kind of motions at the mall.
And you have a debt to square.
One of your goblin friends tugs at your robe, Kerrin.
Yes?
I realize we are small, but I assure you we are very fierce.
I don't doubt it for a minute. And we would be very fortunate to have your company. I imagine you're very sneaky as well.
You would imagine right. As long as 2 conditions are met, 3 conditions are met.
And those are?
We get an equal stake in the treasure. All 3 of us. None of that 1 share for the 3 of us. We each get a piece of whatever we get out of there.
Okay.
2, the story is told of our goblin bravery.
Okay.
3, if one of you gets mind controlled and we gotta put him down, the rest of you won't be sore at us.
I think that's a promise we're all going to have to make at some point to someone.
The two goblins and the kobold kind of talk amongst themselves, and the kobold walks right up to you, Aiden, and sticks a hand out.
I take his hand, shake
He
it
sh-
formally.
He shakes it, and then he just goes and walks right over and stands with the other two with his
Commander.
arms crossed. Meanwhile, back with the Illithids, the undead one comes back into this space. And when it walks forward, it doesn't say a word. The crowd of the beings in between just parts. So it can sort of stand and talk to you both. And it looks at you, Rayonde, and it says, I wanted to meet you for some time, you know.
Why?
You are a wonder. You, like me, are an unusual combination.
Well, forgive me if I'm not delighted by your interest.
I admire that spirit.
All right, so what's going to happen now? Me and your friend, part of your collection? Is that how it works?
All of the beings that are lined up here, all ages, all races, they all start speaking in unison in their individual voices. Many will die tonight. You can choose who lives and who dies, and how many must suffer in the advancement of our victory.
Okay. I'm really unclear on what it is I'm supposed to be doing or what it is that you want.
It slowly turns its head and looks at you, Xander. You are brave. Foolish, but brave. And he motions. And a moment later, you see something come. You hear little footsteps, like, and a small little dinosaur comes around the corner and looks both directions and looks at you, goes, and like runs over to you and like just starts loving all over you, Xander.
Is this is this a trick? What is this?
I told you I've always been merciful by nature. I assure you I won't hurt this creature now. However, where it came from will burn tonight. You can help save his master. You can help save those people. Help us take the city with minimal bloodshed. and there will be peace and unity in Waterdeep.
How do you want me to help?
He motions for a second, and you all see a scene play out. Both of you, both Xander and Rayonde, can see you walking down the streets of the bazaar in Waterdeep, being so excited to see the little dinosaur. And as you see the illusion, the pattern on this one is the same. If it's not the same creature, it's a astonishing similarity. And you all seem so excited and haggling with the woman and her saying there'd be 13,000 gold and all of those things. You see that whole scene play out. And then he just motions and it's gone. I've seen what you two have seen.
Xander, wait just a moment. Before this creature finishes, if all he wanted was your help, he would just control your mind. So the fact that he is asking you, I don't know, just seems significant. Anyway, go on, continue.
He turns and looks back at you and says, we have learned that some limited free will can be of use. And you all, both of you, clearly hear Karrin screaming as Xander stabs them. It gets results. And he pushes on the head of a nearby elf, and it basically stumbles to the side and just does just enough to stand up again and sort of stand there. These empty vessels aren't capable of what the two of you are. So let me be clear, Dragonborn. Yes, I can crush your body. I can break your will. You are defenseless before me. I would just find it efficient were you to do so of your own free will.
So what do you want us to do?
One of the humans in a white sales uniform. Now that you can see him in the light, you know that guy. You somewhere along the way, maybe when you all did your stint in Neverwinter, you're like, I recognize that scar. You know, like, oh, okay. Pulls out of his belt a map of Waterdeep, and there's X's on a few places, and one of the X's is over the yawning portal. This place is where the boundary is thinnest. We must control it. Then we can move in our troops easily.
How are we supposed to help with that? There's hundreds of adventurers that go through there. Mercenaries, just people you don't normally want to mess with, and you expect me and him to defeat them? Or I don't understand.
You are expendable.
Yeah, I gathered.
We are more than capable of killing them all. It would just be preferable were they put to use.
So how do you want us to do this then?
We will arrange for your travel and an adequate fighting force. Take and hold the yawning portal, and we will do the rest.
This fighting force, are they empty shells like the rest of these? Or do they have free will like us?
We have access to a variety of assets. And he turns and looks at you, Rayonde. I know what you're thinking, Wormling. It won't work.
Oh, well, I mean, that wasn't my real plan. That was just what I thought of right now, just to throw you off the scent. I mean, there is a buried place in my mind where you can't go. And that's where I'm keeping what I'm really going to do to kill you.
The white dragonborn comes in with a pack and carrying something. And in her arms are all of your personal effects, Rayonde. And she lays them on the ground in front of you. And she takes the pack off and slings it to you, Xander. And it's all of your things, too. Do this and you will be free. Do this and your friends' lives will be spared. Otherwise, I will personally wring the life out of each of them, except, and he points at you, Rayonde, that darling Helene, that one I will raise again like me. She will have eternity to become what she's capable of.
Well, I don't know if you think I'm obstinate, you should really give her a try. She may not be what you bargained for.
She and all of them may as yet be of some use. And he turns and he walks out. Meanwhile, back at the Sunken Siren, No Seer says, I will send a significant fighting force. He motions around the room. And again, they're all a variety of tough customers. I will send Molt my own right hand. I, of course, will remain here in Skullport to oversee the city's defenses. Should your little gamble come up, shall we say, snake eyes, I suspect an immediate response.
We would expect nothing less of you, Monsieur.
He stands up and he's like, this has been a much more pleasant encounter. I was so looking forward to seeing you fight again, Red Wizard. You were most impressive, although I'm glad to have not gotten quite as hands-on a demonstration from you two, pointing at you, Karrin and Kerrin.
We're happy to give you an encore anytime.
That is an invitation I look forward to accepting in the days to come. Oh, and by the way, should you survive, at some point, if the White Sails uniform seems a little too restrictive, perhaps I can outfit you with something a little more fitting.
Slave trader garbage isn't our style.
Well, can't say I didn't ask nicely. And he turns and he leaves. And you see as he goes, Molt turns and watches him go, and then looks back at all of you and just like calmly wrecks a bolt in her crossbow, like looks at it and puts it back and just sits there and looks at you all.
Okay, so we know where they are. We have the map. We have a plan. I think we're ready to go find them. Go get them back.
You two ready?
We go where you go. Always.
You all hear from outside the exile's panicked voice again. And it's making an odd, like clicking, growling noise. It's more
I think the twins probably head out to try and see what's going on with her.
When you all come out, you see there, essentially in the intersection where you all had approached the bar before, there are 3 robed figures. And one is wearing crimson red, like in your vision before, Karrin and Kerrin. One is wearing royal blue, and one is wearing a bright yellow. And they open their mouths and they speak in unison, and they're like, "We have come to deliver a message."
And deliver it.
Death comes now.
Cryptic. For whom?
They all sort of look around at the people that are sort of here. All who oppose. And they turn right around and they start to walk away.
Well, they must be great at parties.
I think I'm just about tired of having my life threatened. What about you?
Yeah, it had a certain zest at the beginning, but I'm finding it's just not doing the same thing for me now. How about you, Helene?
Yeah, I'm really tired of all the crypticness.
Yeah, I think we should show them just how much of a blast you can be.
I agree.
They're not. They take the whole mind games thing pretty seriously, don't they?
Before we do this, someone should take the warning to topside. If we fail.
I can send a message.
Please.
Who are we trying to contact? Should we let the captain know?
I think if we didn't let the captain know, she would somehow appear out of nowhere in the middle of the Underdark just to get on our case. She would. And
Off
I'd
in the
never know
distance, agrees in Nikto.
It's a limited message, so we have to be precise.
Hey, you're the one with all the fancy education. I trust you to be all precise and concise and cool as ice.
So the general gist is, we suspect that some sort of attack might happen soon, and they should be ready for it.
And it's from mind-flaying jerks. Yeah, they
Who
need to know
took
that part too.
Xander and
So-
Rayonde.
To be clear, with sending, you can send 25 words or less.
Yes, and I've seen what a disaster this could become. when you're not ready for it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just pointing out that it's 25 words or less. What kind of monster would have turned this into a Twilight Zone's monkey paw situation and twisted horribly? I don't know what you mean.
All right, so we're gonna cast sending. We're gonna send the message to Nikto. Nikto, please be aware that we've run into Illithids. Their plan is to attack topside, and they have Xander and Rayonde. We're going to stop them. How many words do I have left, by the way? Does anybody know? I haven't counted. I'm just going to end it there then.
I got to like 10 and then I gave up.
That
felt like
that
the
was
most
15.
Aiden thing to do.
It's true.
Huh?
We'll say that's 15. That seemed like a fairly concise statement. So we'll say that's 15 words. I saw Aiden's fingers and I made the full mistake of trusting in the boy. And
I think it's probably closer to 20, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off there so that we don't have people in chat yelling that I went over.
we've all been on the internet. We know what this is. Yes.
Yeah.
Now that we've done that, I feel like we should probably put a little bit more haste in our step because Nikto's fast, and Nikto, I feel like will probably try and stop us or have some kind of rule of why we shouldn't do this, make us go back and follow some kind of protocol. Who knows? So I just want to get that as fast as possible.
At least she'll be ready up there, and she has the resources to figure out how we got down here and where we went through, which means she'll probably be watching those spots.
Yeah.
A moment later in your mind, Kerrin, you get what? And essentially a stream of obscenities. And just make sure that you get back here and cover all of your
Okay, there. You look like you just ate a lemon.
Nikto's not very happy with us.
Can we quantify that?
My surprise choice.
A lot of cursing.
Yeah, probably
Mama's angry.
Probably 20 of her 25 words were especially foul in about 6 different languages. Like, you know, like people don't even speak that one anymore. Like I just woo.
We read that one in a book and didn't even try.
Yeah. Yeah, she went through about 4 accents over the course of her tirade there. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if the alternative is better than failing this mission and having to face Nikto. If we fail this mission, let's just never go back.
You know, let's succeed at this mission. And then we'll deliver Rayonde and Xander
And
to take all the blame.
If we do fail this mission, coming back probably won't be an option.
I was trying not to say that part.
But it's true, Aiden. It's time we face the facts, okay?
I have never
everything-
faced facts, and I'm not going to start now.
Kerrin just sort of gives you a bit of a side eye.
Aiden doesn't quite meet their eyes.
Well, we've got a Duragar, a kobold, and 2 goblins. And a big ol' army. What do you say we go sneak and take them from behind? No, Aiden, no. And Kerrin just kind of walks off.
Arm, yes!
Helene, the exile sort of takes your hand and you hear her voice in your mind quietly. She's like, I can't go. You know I can't go.
I know. You and Helene kind of like leans down to her and like takes her hands even closer and goes, "You've helped us so much. Thank you for everything you've done. I know you can't go. Okay, it's all right. It's okay."
I can't break it, but understand it's and she holds up her hand and she's like, mind flayers, the elder brain, they're all connected.
Okay.
Be aware of that. If you can find a way to use it to your advantage, it's fine. Those three that just talked to us, it wasn't them, it was it. They're all connected.
I got you. So, does it feel when we hurt them too?
They're aware of it, but it's not like if you stab me, that one will double over in pain. No, but it's aware of what happened. It knows.
Got you. So our best bet is just to go for the big one, then.
Do what you can. Just do with that what you can.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you so much.
And she gives you a quick hug and she's like, I'll see you when you get back.
And Helene hugs her back too.
And while you're hugging, Molt walks up to you again and looks at you and heavily rolls her eyes and just goes and turns and walks after the others.
I think what that one needs is more hugs, she says to her.
She's like, that one has always been so disagreeable. Meanwhile, back in the place, you all have had a chance to get completely armed and armored, and you have been brought back before encephalithid. But this time, when you get there, there are rows of creatures lined up in battle formations. There are dozens of them, all standing there with that same blank stare. And the long, tentacled Alithid is standing there in front of you again. And it looks at you, Rayonde, and says, are you prepared?
Yeah, we're ready.
So my associate gave your friend here a puppy. And the little dinosaur it's the one thing that seems happily oblivious to all of this in this terrible place. It's like, I came up with a very different gift for you, Rayonde.
No, I'm not going to like this, am I? It's going to be something awful.
I told them you're coming. They raised an army to come and save you. But what they're going to encounter is this. And when he says this, all of them stamp their weapons.
Oh, you shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have.
So, and it gets close to you again. Fight to the best of your ability, and they may be spared. Hesitate even for a moment, and I will paint these walls with their blood.
Acknowledged.
The elder brain rises up again out of the water and says, oh, my children, I only want one thing for all the sentience of all the worlds and all the planes to know peace and harmony and belonging, to know the simple joy of being of use. And all of them make a single, ah! Go. Spread our word. And they form up in Xander and Rayonde. In your minds, you clearly see away through the caves. You're just aware of it. They're unmarked. They make no sense, but you're like left there, right, left, right, up, down, cross under, move that rock, go through that hole. Got it. Be glorious, my champions.
Let's go, Rayonde.
Oh, we're going? All right, sorry. I'm very invested in all of this, honestly.
When you turn and start walking, a moment later, they all start falling in behind you. And you see the one with the long tentacles stands there with encephalithid, but the lich sort of falls in a few feet behind you all and starts walking along with the rest of the group.
Trying to get Rayonde in like close so he can't hear nothing, or he can't hear stuff, but no one else can hear nothing, even though they're in our minds. Rayonde.
This is going great, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to figure out a plan in a way that we all survive.
Yeah, but we can't talk about a plan because
I know. I'm
they
just
can read
saying
our minds,
we need to be aware of something and figure out something so that something doesn't hear us. Something.
Let's just wait for our moment. And when that moment comes, we have to trust that each other will know what it is.
Trust in the moment. All right.
When you say that, you feel something like poking against your leg, Xander. And Mugtu, the little dinosaur, just looks up at you, completely happy and utterly oblivious to the nightmarish hellscape that you're in right now.
Hey, little guy. Let's like hold him, pick him up.
He snuggles all against you and everything, and just it is a small kernel of warmth in the midst of this sea of darkness.
I whisper in Mugtu's ear, I'm going to protect you. You will be safe.
It's all over you. Meanwhile, was it you all's intention essentially to roll out of Skullport basically right then?
We got 24 hours on this hero's feast. Let's fucking do this.
We have nothing else to wait for.
Okay. You all follow the Exiles map, and again, it takes you back originally sort of along the shores of the bank of the river, but you see now, essentially, if you go past the waterfall a little distance, there's this like a hidden cove along the river that takes you even deeper into the mountain. All of you give me your perception checks.
How do you like a 26?
A
17.
24?
24. All of you, Karrin and Kerrin, you spot it first, but then Aiden, you see it, and so do you, Helene. There are figures wandering along the riverbank. One of them is about waist deep out in the water. One of them is at the base of the cliff, sort of like scratching at it. Another just seems to be walking in the same direction you're walking, but just very slowly.
No more further detail than that.
That is the first thing you detect when you could get closer and try and see more, but you sort of spotted a ways out. You're certain you've seen them before they've seen you.
Guys, maybe we should just walk casually, pretend like we're not doing anything wrong. Let's see if we can just blend in.
Yeah, I can scout ahead and take a look. I don't want them to be forward scouts and give away the game.
That sounds like a good idea.
All right.
Give me stealth, Aiden.
Running 2.
You, in classic sneaky boy fashion, flit on ahead. Again, the three of you know he's going to do it, and it's still a challenge at times to be like, it's not quite Nikto, where a couple of times, even if you get a couple of drinks in her, she'll let you hold her hand and is gone. Like you, but Aiden is getting better. You see him sort of flit along, and so you basically have the one that's out in the water, the one that's at the wall, and the one that is just further ahead. Which one would you like to approach? Because they're basically, even though they're all on the river bank, the river bank is wide enough from the cliffs, from the cave wall, that you kind of have to go after one of them.
Yeah, I'd like to get one of the ones that isn't already in the water. So it sounds like maybe the one at the wall. I want to get up close enough to observe their behavior and their gaze. I'm trying to figure out if we're dealing with creatures that are mind flayer controlled. In effect, they got that sort of like.
They absolutely do. As you get near the wall, this looks like one of those strange pale gnomes. Zwerfnabelin, you heard them referred to as. But again, they just look almost ghostly. And as you look closer, you can see this one's fingers are rubbed raw from essentially having been trying to climb this cliff. It seems like it was weeks ago, but really you all were fighting, hours ago, essentially. But whatever time has passed, this little thing has been standing here trying to do nothing but this. And as you watch, like, it still sort of like scoots, and it'll make it 6 or 8 inches and slide back down and immediately start doing it again.
Circle back to the group. Yeah, I think that one was just told to climb and is still trying to do it. I hate to be indelicate about this, but we got to do something about them.
What was that, Helene? Sorry.
The thing is if we do something to one of them, apparently they all know. They're all connected. So if we try to attack or we try to get rid of them, we're going to give away our position to, I think, the whole hive, clan, group, family, whatever you call it.
Is there a way that we can get around them?
Having scouted out, did I see something to that effect?
They're just on the riverbank. They seem fairly oblivious, but unless you do something to like physically prevent them from seeing your fighting force, because you've got a fighting force of let's see, you got about 25 sentients with you, some of which are big old heavy things like orcs and hobgoblins and things that do not scream subtlety.
Or they scream, and that's the problem.
I have a plan.
Yeah.
Maybe if one of our scariest looking guys just kind of runs through here and pretends to be on a rampage, the rest of us can get through. The brain will just think that they've got one wild orc that's gone mad and is tearing everything up, and they will be oblivious to the rest of us if we can just get one big guy to cause a distraction.
Who among us would be brave enough and inclined enough to cause such a ruckus? I say over my shoulder.
You call by name. That's what they call me, Ruckus. And a huge bugbear. He's probably 7'4", with bugbear have long, oversized arms. Even though he's huge, it's 7 foot. His arms are probably 8 foot. and he's got yellowish fur that is like pockmarked with scars of a lifetime of battle. He's like, want me to go and wreck a few of them?
Far be it from us to deny you a warm-up.
Yes, please.
He looks at you. He looks you up and down, Helene, and he's like, you're like a wizard of some sort, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he leans down into your face and smiles with his extremely sharp, toothy grin. Is like, would you like to see a magic trick?
Sure.
In this huge thing, he's probably 450 pounds. Turns and looks at the one that is climbing along the cliff face. And again, you're some feet back. You had plenty of time to go and scout. And it sort of like moves away from the group, and it moves like a ghost. It's quieter than Aiden is. It's just like you watch it, but it's like, what? And immediately it is all over the little gnome, and it just like lifts it up, and you just hear like, shh, I know, shh. It just drops it to the ground. And then it turns and it looks at the one in the water, and it picks up a rock, and it goes, it turns and looks ahead to the third one, and it's like, and it moves ahead again, and it's like you don't hear a thing, and it wraps its hand around its mouth and picks it up a little bit, and you see this when it moves was a person, and it just sort of like trembles for a second and is gone. And he's like, oh yeah, stay off my land, this is my fishing dock, all right, freaking blank-eyed people, humanoids, and drops it. He turns around like, that's pretty good, eh?
Helene is standing over on the side, very silently clapping.
You see
Professional skills here. I mean,
your kobold friend kind of like quietly splashes out into the water and throws his fishing net out and sort of pulls out of the water the one that he hit with the rock that looks like it probably probably is a very malnourished halfling. Hard to say, but they sort of wrap its eyes up and like kind of like truss it up a little bit and like lean and like put it against the cave wall. And they're like, see, we did that with no bloodshed. We're off to a fantastic start.
100%.
The kobold looks up at you, Karrin, and just goes, and he pulls his knife and shows it to you, and he's like, twirls it and puts it back. But he's like, but and it turns and like walks back and rejoins the group. As you all are continue making your way down through the shores of this thing, Helene, give me a wisdom saving throw.
I believe you have advantage on these.
That was a natural 20, good sir.
Hey. Helene, you feel something pressing on your mind, trying to take you over. And you feel yourself standing somewhere else. You feel yourself standing at that pool that you saw Rayonde standing at. And it seems like the place is empty. When you saw the vision, it was teeming with all sorts of sentience, suffering and enslaved. But this time, there is nothing but that giant pulsating brain. And it looks at you and says, "Oh, you're not supposed to be here. You followed me back somehow."
Helene immediately activates Firebolt or Thunderbolt.
Just to like show that you can, or really try and blast it?
Oh no, she's really trying to blast it. If it's right in front of her, she's gonna take her her moment of opportunity here.
You and the lightning just goes straight through it. And you notice when it goes to the wall, it just goes straight through it. And one of its tentacles lashes out at you too, but it just goes straight through you. And it says, you must be powerful indeed.
What have you done with our friends?
They're your friends, but they're my children.
You have half of that correct.
You're the one they call Helene, yes?
Yes.
Interesting. You are harder for me to see than the others. I can't recall the last time someone was able to resist me. Fascinating. Can I ask you a question, Helene?
Sure. But if I don't like it, you're not going to like what I do next either.
Such spirit. You're not the first one that started like this, that told me what they wouldn't do, that they'd never bow, that they wouldn't serve. And yet now, they all serve. What is that necklace you wear? I'm not familiar with that symbol, and there aren't many things I'm not familiar with.
I owe you no explanation.
Normally, I would just wring it out of your mind, but somehow I cannot. Interesting. Tell me, what is the source of this power that you possess? Why is it that I am not able to possess you as I so freely do all others?
You know what the best part of that question is? You won't know until you're already destroyed.
Interesting. I look forward to continuing this exchange in person.
Likewise.
Oh, and by the way, Xander and Rayonde are on the way to meet you. And when they do, I will make them bring you to me. And you're back on the river. For the rest of you, Helene did not disappear. It's just essentially you were just gone for a moment. And then you were back.
Guys.
Yeah? What is it?
It's that the big brain was in my brain. So
Are you okay?
Yeah, we were back at that place where we saw the vision last time, but it was alone. It was by itself. I tried to get it. I tried to shoot at it, and it went right through it, and then it swung at me, and it went right through me. But it says that they're on their way to us. Rayonde and Xander. And that they're sending them here to bring us to them.
Karrin, can you scry them?
Of course. Or send them a message. Either one works. Which do you prefer?
I mean, I don't know about you. I would want to see them if I could. But I don't know how that magic stuff works. So
I think
we need 10 minutes.
it might be better to keep an eye on them first before we actually make contact with them.
Of
I don't
course.
know how infiltrated this thing is into their mind already either. So we have to kind of assume anything that they hear from us, this thing also hears.
Good point.
Give us just a moment.
Yeah. Take all the time you need. Well,
Meanwhile, as the forces of the Illithid Empire are also making its way through the twisting caverns of the Underdark, you notice the further you get out from the city, the more natural things seem. The non-Euclidean twisting madness of their city sort of gives rise to what you'd expect to find in deep caves. As you all march along, you often hear the roar of creatures, and every once in a while something just comes charging out, and you see the Lich Illithid just holds his hands up. At one point, a giant hulking creature that looks like a large bug of some sort, with eyes with red twisting madness, claws out of a wall like it's swimming, and turns and looks at you all like, "Argh!" He's like, and you see it just sort of like blinks for a few moments and just drops its arms and joins the ranks of everything else marching along with you. And at one point, it looks at you, Rayonde. I have a question for you, Dragonborn.
Yes.
You seem afraid of losing yourself, that your great strength will be of no use. Why do you fear this so?
If you're so good at reading minds, how can you be so wrong about me?
Perhaps it is you who are wrong about you.
Yeah, that's possible too, I guess. But no, I'm not afraid. I have faith.
I believe the other one told you that these ideas are weakness. They leave you vulnerable.
Oh, you thought I meant faith in a higher power? Oh, no, I have faith in this guy right here. This Xander is the champion of the White Sails Boxing Club, and I mean, when we get the chance, we're going to turn on you and destroy you. It could be soon. It could be minutes from now. I'm actually, I pride myself on my discipline, but I'm going to lose control. I'm getting kind of excited.
I know you think there is some heroic solution to all of this, a way that you and your friends rise up and defeat us.
Yes, because we have another thing that you're missing, which is imagination. Does that answer your question, or do you have any others?
I have already conquered death itself. I fear no sentient.
No, I don't know if you conquered it. I mean, looks like you're gonna. I don't know. Yeah, jury's out on that one.
Xander.
Yeah.
Descendant of House Kendrick, my lord. Sorry. Not subtle. Stop. Sorry. That's my timer.
Yes. What are these ringing in my ear?
There's a small furry race of creatures known as Fraggles in these walls, always singing songs and playing tunes.
Good.
You are royalty. You are meant to rule. Did you know this?
What does that have to do with anything?
I will share with you a secret that even Rayonde doesn't know and is too stubborn to ask.
I'm all yours.
He is also royalty. He is descended from a great worm king.
Which worm?
Mm. When all of this is over, when Waterdeep lay crushed and broken, when both of you have done what has been asked and accepted your place, I will share all. I will deliver you a kingdom, Xander, and I will place you, Rayonde, as the most feared dragon in all of Faerun. All you have to do is go forth and conquer. And that's a good place for us to stop.
Yeah.
But I just can't wait to be king.
I just can't wait.
So,
Sorry.
thank you all. Full disclosure, right when we started, I didn't hit my timer and I thought of it a couple minutes later and I kind of eyeballed it. So I'm going to cut us off fairly abruptly here. But do please join us next week, episode 9, where a clash of two opposing forces, I'm sure, is going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Yeah. And
You got this.
hit up your friendly local gaming shop and we'll see you next week.